What is free will? Do we truly have freedom of choice? Are the choices that we make truly coming from our own freedom, or are we subject to other influences? Those are the things I'm going to cover today, and I'm going to be sharing some interesting examples that may support you to think a little bit differently about how we actually make choices. When I was studying the theme of money and putting together money programs, I wanted to understand what are the subconscious drivers of money. And I came across a number of different studies that have happened and certain teachings, and I discovered some subliminal information about the subliminal messages that we receive from others and from marketing company that make us buy things. So one of them was, one of the most traditional was when people went to watch a movie, and at some point during the movie they all of a sudden had a sensation to go and buy a soft drink. Yeah, these nice fizzy soft drinks that quench your thirst. Not water, they specifically bought a soft drink. Now, what caused this? That everyone or a certain number of people in a cinema all of a sudden got triggered to go outside and buy a soft drink. What they did during the movie, they inserted little clips of Coca-Cola and people drinking Coca-Cola and all of that that the mind does not see. The eye does not see, the naked eye doesn't see these little clips because the eye sees 24 frames per second. So if they snip out one frame and they slip in a little image of a Coca-Cola that just kind of flashes in within a second, you don't even notice it with the naked eye, but it triggers the subconscious to see something because the subconscious sees at a much higher frame rate. The subconscious is being primed to want or desire something, especially when it's a repetitive picture happening, and the eye is just continuing to see the movie. So while you're emotionally invested in the movie, while you're attentive, while you're focused, inside those little frames, they're putting in little clips of Coca-Cola, of people drinking Coke, of this nice water, just as they do as the adverts, but it's a little snippet. And people are all of a sudden getting primed to want a drink. And they stand up and they go and get a Coca-Cola. Now, was it their choice to even have the desire to go and buy the drink? Or was there an outside stimulus causing them to want to go and buy the drink? Now, this study, or these kinds of studies, have been proven over and over again, where even in marketing has been designed, and there's nothing wrong with marketing if it's used to match the consumer with a particular product that fulfills their needs. Nothing wrong with that. But they've discovered, marketers and people that use NLP, certain tactics to get people to buy their products. So whoever's using these tools, they try to get more people to buy their product. Now, this is manipulative in a way because the people that are buying are not aware that they're actually being triggered and funneled in a way to buy the product, sometimes things that they don't really need or don't really want, but their emotional systems are being triggered to buy the product. And usually it's using fear or some kind of a desire of the ultimate outcome, or fear of loss of something. And we see this in the world today at the moment, that a lot of people are being triggered and primed to take particular actions, even though they don't really need to take those actions, or those actions might not necessarily be good for them, but they're being primed to do it, and people go ahead unknowingly. And most of us get trapped by this because we don't know. Our emotional centers get triggered, and this emotional center has evolved over 1 million years to get triggered when there's pain and when we need to avoid pain, and when there's a possibility of a gain or some desire and we want to go and get that gain. So this is the animal, the primitive aspect of our nature that is very active. And when someone knows what buttons to press or what triggers or what to say at the right time, at the right place, and invest your emotional centers into something, then they're able to direct you into a particular result without you knowing. There was an experiment that was done that I heard about at one of the big department stores in the UK. And they took a lady and they said, okay, you go inside and you just buy one thing. And we kind of know what you're going to buy, but you go inside and find this thing that we're going to buy. And the lady went in and she came out with a little plush giraffe toy. And they said, well, we knew you would get this, because they kind of wrote it down and they said, here's the result, and we knew you would come out with a giraffe. She's like, well, how did you know? And this was all filmed, and people were, they kind of filmed it in a way that they said, okay, this woman's going to go for this giraffe toy, and they explained how. And they took people through the department store afterwards, and they said, well, have a look. On the first level, we had the letters giraffe. It didn't write giraffe, but it was all the letters scrambled in different places where the mind doesn't, the naked eye doesn't see the word giraffe, but because of the association of the word, when you see all the letters, they start to remember or trigger the memory that where giraffe inside of you belongs. And your mind kind of puts it together, but it's not conscious of it. On another level, they had sounds of animals and videos of giraffes and all of that. So they were, as this lady was going through the store, there were little triggers and little primes constantly giving her the subliminal message, telling her what to buy. And she came out with a giraffe toy. Now, if you've watched the movie Focus, you would understand that this is also, there was a movie about this very thing where they primed a certain person to choose a football player, and it was all planned, and the priming was done a day or two before. So this happens, and we're aware of it. And I even met a guy many, many years ago. It was back in 2010. And I was doing some research, 2009, 2010. Now I called this guy and I said, look, I'm really curious about your methods. I was speaking to him about astrology, and he says, well, if you're really interested, I have something else. And what I do for companies is I help them design, put in certain symbols inside their logo to get more people to buy their product. And I was like, what? People do that? And he says, absolutely. They pay me a lot of money to design symbols, and that creates some kind of an attractor pattern that gets more people attracted to the product, and they buy more of this product than the other product. So there are advertisements and marketing that are kind of in your face, and they're telling you do this. But there's also other forms of marketing and advertising that subliminally trigger you to take action by opening up your emotional centers and opening up the limbic system of the brain and the more primitive parts of your brain that disarm your logical thinking and make you take action because out of fear or out of a positive or possible perceived gain. So once again, I ask you the question, are you the one making the choices that you make? Or are you very likely and possibly being driven by certain media and certain perceptions and certain perspectives that are being driven by other people that know what they're doing, that have studied human behavior, and they're able to understand and manipulate what other people do, what majority of people do. Now, some people are immune to these kinds of actions. Some people aren't affected by it. Most people are, because most people are either inside their own fear center and they're driven to run away from fear, or they're living inside the desire center and desire some kind of result so badly that anything that looks like it's going to give them that result, they buy into. So if you're driven by any form of fear or any form of desire, if anybody's able to access the primitive parts of your mind, they're going to trigger those two aspects, and they're going to be able to make you get things that you don't really need, don't really want, etc. And the effect is that you're not control of those decisions. You're not in control of those decisions and actions in your life. Other people are actually directing you in those decisions and choices. You know, it's like when you've gone in and purchased a piece of clothing sometime, and you've tried it out, you wore it in the wardrobe, and you're like, wow, this is a perfect fit. And you go home and you try it on again, and you're like, whoa, this is not me. Why did I even buy it? Well, that's because the change rooms and the mirrors and the lighting and the music inside the store is designed to trigger these same emotional centers to make you see that I want this. And that's why you go home sometimes and you're like, but it's not even my taste, or something's not 100% right, it doesn't quite fit. And maybe you'll go and return it, or maybe you'll just keep it and wear it once or twice, and then it's like, it's not quite you, it's not quite a fit. So the people, the individuals that are able to control what other people do to them are the ones that are most present in their body and have greater influence over their own life. The ones that are able to know themselves to such a deep degree that they know what they're doing, when they're doing it, and how they're doing it, because they understand themselves and their inner workings. Most people don't know themselves. They don't know what they want, truly want. They're driven by the desire center, which is not what you truly want, or by the fear center, which is not who you truly are and what you're truly running away from. The true desires is living inside the cell of inspiration. And when you're driving your life by what you're inspired by, not by what you're passionate about, not by what you get hyped up about or excited about, but what you're truly inspired about, what truly moves you, those are the true choices coming from the deepest aspect of who you are. But many people are not aware of how to guide their lives in that way. If you'd like to know a little more how to guide your lives, go inside the earlier lessons and have a look at the inner guidance system lesson. And there I teach you to take step-by-step approach to going inside yourself and learning to connect to your own inner guidance system, because that's what we need at the moment. We need a lot more people guiding their lives by their own truth, not being influenced by the outside world. So this is one of the big problems that we're living with today. We have too many people being influenced by systems outside of them, and these people are not driving and directing their own lives. They're not self-governed. They're governed by the outside. And unless you take the opportunity to empower yourself and empower your own life such that you're self-governed and you make your own decisions, and you're not driven by your animal nature, avoiding fear or avoiding some kind of fatality or driven by some kind of a desire, but you bring the two together and you're driven by some kind of a mission, some kind of a purpose, some kind of inspiration, whatever that may be. Some people's purpose or mission or what inspires them is to just cook for their family. Other people are inspired by traveling the world and just enjoying the planet. Other people are inspired by building big businesses. Other people are inspired by amassing wealth. It differs for different people. It's important for you to identify what is true and right for you. So that's my message for today. And what I want you to do is just take that back and as a practice to support you to be stronger on the outside is, if you are going to make a choice, take a step back from that choice and go into your own center, into your own truth, wherever you find it in your body. That's the first place where you're calm, Your emotions are not hyped up. They're not low and fearful. They're just present and balanced. So when you're in a balanced state, you're able to make the most true choices. So if you're faced with a choice, go inside yourself, relax, connect with your body, connect to your heart, not the emotional heart, but the true heart that's slow and present, and just breathe in and out of that space for a little while and relax until the answer, the truth, arises. If you tend to find that the answer is coming and you're getting like this urgency to act on it, it might not necessarily be the right answer, because there might be this fear that's driving it, or the desire to have that's driving it. You need to get yourself into a balanced and poised state. So if you feel like you're driven to urgently do something, it might be best to not take the decision until you calm a little bit, and then the answer emerges on its own, and you know with certainty that this is something to do, and there's not a fear or some kind of a anxious drive to do something. So that's the difference. That's my invitation to you over the next few days or weeks, is to take decisions from your heart space. And for that to happen, you need to go into your heart. And for that to happen, you need to be in your body. For that to happen, you need to get out of your head and out of your thinking and out of analysis. For that to happen, you need to get out of emotional reactions. And for that to happen, you need to be connected with yourself. If you're interested to find out more about that, the video is up. You can go and revisit or see it for the first time, the Inner Guidance System video, and just watch and understand that your body gives the answers that you're looking for. You don't need to ask someone's opinion. Your own truth is inside of you. And if you're following somebody else's truth, then it's very likely you'll follow the subtle manipulations of other people. When you follow your own truth, you're untouchable by the outside and by these subtle manipulations. So go ahead and apply that little practice. If you have some questions about it, or any further details, or if you want to understand how to fine-tune it, then let me know in the comments or send me a personal message. And if you find you need some support, then please feel free to reach out, because that's the work that I do, is supporting people to connect to their own truth so that they're making the decisions that are true for them.